Come to Remora TC to trade like a shark and not get eaten by one. Let's school together to protect and grow our money. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, November 4th. The market just closed for today. Let's get right into the tickers. Got triple Qs on deck here. From last Tuesday, I talked about a zone of resistance up here at the top of this trend line, and you can see that price has been bouncing off of it, and today there was some further selling. So really the overall direction for triple Qs, my prediction is unchanged, still further to the downside, down to the 200-day, down here somewhere. And I guess it would be around the 565, around the 560 price point. I'm just going to extend this trend line a bit so we can track it. Okay, so somewhere down here will be support. Let's go to the next one, which is GDX. This is the gold miners play. The overhead resistance with the gap fill. Put this little red highlight up here being overhead resistance. Price is behaving as expected. No change in my prediction. The 200-day is down further. Let me just re-annotate the 200-day to make it a little bit flatter, like that. And overall, further low prices for GDX. Okay, if you remember, GDX and gold in general hit 3,000 this year, and it's profit-taking time. Switching to Microstrategy, this is the Bitcoin play. You can see that price broke this support. Okay, so there's this support line here, which I annotated in green. It provided support for 2 days, the past Thursday and Friday, but today they gapped it down. There's some selling. Okay, the volume is at 15 million shares. From a comparison standpoint, the 15 million isn't quite as high as some of the other days, right? So I'm not thinking that the overall direction will change. My annotation down here is that bullish divergence exists, and in fact, it's continuing. I'm going to annotate it like this, and then go like that. So really, the overall direction for strategy, MicroStrategy, is to the upside. I'm not changing my tune. If anything, I'm going to adjust the upward line because it's played out differently than what I predicted in weeks prior. I'm going to re-annotate it like this. I think there will be support down here. And it'll go like that, okay? And then from the support standpoint, I'll make this green. Let's see, make it green. There you go. And then let's retouch this a little bit. Like that. This is out of play. All right. There is a chance that they would want to do a gap fill. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. Take a look at this gap fill opportunity. Is there a gap fill? Yeah, there may be a gap fill. Okay, so we'll have to see, because what we could see here is when price hit this gap area, it used the upper edge as support. Okay, upper edge, it's all support right there. And then when we come over here, so we'll have to see how it behaves on the upper edge of the gap. If it gets beneath the bottom edge of the gap, but I don't see the momentum going to that direction though. So really, I think the gap area, gap zone, is support. Like that. Okay, the bottom edge of it. It's going to be support as well. Okay, so two support zones. So really it's a zone. the general direction for MicroStrategy is up. Okay. Switching to Microsoft. Over the past few weeks, it's been dancing around this gap zone and then produced a double top, second top here. I talked about in the last video. You can see how price has behaved since then. That was on earnings. Earnings was, positive. You can see it here. And then since then, it's just profit taking. Some volume coming in to the sell side, but nothing super impulsive. I still remain convinced that the move is to the downside. Take your profits when you can if you're long on Microsoft, because the general direction is to the downside. Okay. Yeah, with the double top, with this top here and this top here, to me, these are two tops. One could argue that there is bearish divergence down here. I'm not going to annotate it that way, but I do feel that the overall direction for Microsoft is to the downside, okay, with profit taking. Switching to Tesla, see how the price action has been. I talked about this double top area here. And then you can see the price has been dancing along this trend line, okay, above it, beneath it, above it, and beneath it again. My overall annotation is to the downside. There's no change. Further low prices for Tesla. Switching over to Palantir. I put a shark here talking about how that is the bearish divergence. Excuse me. You can see that yesterday's price action pushed right into resistance here. I'm going to extend this line real quick. Adjust it real quick like that. Okay, practically went up and hit it as resistance. I'll move this over here like this. Okay. Today they gapped it down massively, 7%, sold it down, and then ended the day at about 8% down. Let's annotate the gap, because that always seems to be in play for Palantir. Go like this. So the question is, are they going to buy it back up, confuse everybody again, buy it back up, dance around inside the gap before selling it again? Overall, my annotation for my prediction for Palantir remains to the downside. Let's just adjust it over. Something like that. And then the resistance where I would want to take a short would be underneath here. So somewhere around underneath here. Okay. That's Palantir. Let's go over to Northrop. All right, so for Northrop, I talked about the potential for faking us out with this symbol here to indicate that the market makers may be attempting to suck us in for the long. Okay, so I warned us about that with the overall direction of my prediction to the downside. Well, in fact, they didn't really, people didn't take their bait, and the selling started. Okay, there's some selling. Not super impulsive. Where you can see it now is it's along this purple trend line, and it's a long-term trend line that is, right now, to me, it hasn't fully broken. Even though the price action has been beneath it, it's not super impulsive. There's not a lot of volume to the downside. So it's possible over the next week or so, they'll buy it back up. They'll buy it back up, maybe dance around the red trend line before going down. Okay, and this red line here is really just a zone where I felt there was a lot of respect. Resistance when it was underneath, and respect when it was above. So really, I think it'll be overhead resistance here. Let's annotate it as such. There you go. Switching over to GM. GM broke today, right? I talked about this future sell signal with regard to bearishness, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'll keep the quotes there. The price action is behaving as I suspected, horizontal movement before it breaks. This break today is not impulsive. They may reclaim support tomorrow and the rest of the week before selling it down later on. So I'll just slide this over. Okay, they'll just kind of bounce it around. Try to fake people out on both sides of the trade so that they can get a better entry and exit. Overall, lower prices for GM. So take your profits when you can. Over to General Mills. This trade, to me, it remains a long, okay? Even though the price action looks to be very negative. To me, it's a long. I'm in this trade. So let's see, I took the trade around here, around 49.50 or so. I'm down. All right, so maybe 7% down, okay? I'm still in the trade. I haven't closed out my position. Everybody has a different risk tolerance with regard to stopping out and things like that. From my perspective, based on how I do positioning and trade sizes, I'm okay. So being down this, 7% is part of the experience of the trade. So right now, the bullishness is just getting more and more intense, and it's just a matter of time for the price action to come back up. So no change in my prediction for how this ticker will move. I'm just going to slide this over. Okay. The near term, you might say, well, where's it going? Well, I'm thinking that there will be support down here at the, oops, it's hard to use a mouse when I'm sitting straight on like this. So I'll use my fingers. So there's a zone of support down here, okay? And the support is at both these price areas, price zones. So you can see that let's see there, between 44.35 and so essentially $44 to $45. This is a zone of support, okay? The next support is down here at 40, but this is the near-term zone of support. All right, let's slide this over, in fact. Okay, all right. That's GIS, that's a long play. Another long play is UPS. UPS, I talked about, was I going to take profit over here on the day that it gapped up? Okay, I decided not to, thinking of that, likely my exit would be up here along this trend line resistance. I'm still in the trade. There's no change. You can see the volume has been decreasing, okay, which tells me that on the buy side, the buyers are going to step in and buy it back up. Let's take a look at the hourly. So from an hourly standpoint, you can see the wedge. So here's let me annotate this pizza wedge here. I talk about the pizza wedge, both from the downside and on the upside, how the pizza wedge works. And let's annotate it here. Okay. So it's not a not super obvious that it's a pizza wedge. So I'm just noticing that now. What I do see is a trend line, a channel. So you can see price bouncing along this channel. The key point for me is whether or not price will come down to close out the gap. I don't think it'll reach there. I think they will have buyers come in, step in earlier for it. Yeah, so my annotation over here, I'm going to slide it to the right. Right. Further upward price movement for UPS. And I'm just going to go like that. All right, it's all freehand. Okay. That's the long play. Let's look at Lululemon. All right, this ticker, you can see this indecision point here. At one point, price was up here. I talked about from a momentum standpoint, how are they going to play it? Are they going to come up to the upper edge here of the gap fill, and that would be resistance? Or would they use the bottom edge as support? You can see that it did not. And in fact, it came back down to this trend line, and it's using it as support today. I'm going to slide it over. It's going to be support for the next few days. I'm still in this trade. Long. That's my overall direction for Lululemon. It's still a long trade. What they might do is have price dip below this trend line a little bit, dip below it a little bit to create more divergence here, bullish divergence. Right now, the annotation is only up to this point, from here to here. But if they dip price below, let's say below this, below the 159.70, just a little bit, 1 or 2 pennies, then it will create all of this bullish divergence. Okay, so for now it's here, but the bullish divergence is coming. So let me just do the quotes again. So I'll put a whale here and put double quotes to say that my prediction is it's coming. The bullishness is coming. Double quotes, double quotes. Okay. There you go. So it's coming. And then last but not least is Target. Target here, you can see we talked about Target for the past couple of weeks, that this is a long setup. It's not a long trade at the moment. My intention is to take a long when Target's up here, above the purple trend line. Right now it's dancing down here, which is fine. You know, the entry isn't until it's up above. So let's re-annotate this real quick. Okay, just because price is in a different spot. Something like this. Okay, it'll come up and then go. So it'll be resistance when it's below the trend line. The trend line we're talking about is this purple one. So let's move the green annotation below it. It's going to be resistance for the time being. And then when price gets above it, that's the opportunity for the long. Okay, well, those are the tickers for today, this week. Hope you liked my assessment. Hope you've been following along, learning a few things. Please give me a thumbs up. Share my content with your friends and family. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want me to take a look at. And as always, good luck with your trades.